Are you a Christo-supremist? Let me answer the question for myself first. One day this question, which had never occurred to me before, popped into my mind. Am I a Christo-supremist? I'd never heard the term Christo-supremist. No one asked me this question, and I'd never asked it of myself. To answer that question, I had to ask myself a few other questions. I started here. Do I believe Jesus Christ right now is the ultimate authority over all things, and that all other authorities are accountable to him today? To this, I answered yes. Then came these questions. Do I believe all judges, presidents, and kings are currently fully accountable to Christ's ever-present authority, whether they recognize it or not, and whether they accept it or not? In other words, does Christ's authority apply to everyone like gravity applies to everyone, regardless of whether or not one believes the Lord even exists? To these questions, I answered yes. Christ's supremacy over all things, physical, metaphysical, and moral, applies to Christian and non-Christian alike in equal measure. That's divine equity. It knows neither geographic boundary nor ethnic brand. I'm neither a Christian nationalist nor a white supremacist. I'm a Christo-supremacist. But the questions didn't stop there. Do I believe that moral and metaphysical truth is measured and determined by Christ alone? By moral truth, I mean what is right or wrong for all humans. And by metaphysical truth, I mean what is really real when it comes to things I cannot see or touch. Things like the existence of heaven or hell or angels or demons. In these non-Christian times, anti-Christian times, people are throwing Christianity under the bus because of its exclusive truth claims. Christ's word alone is true, and whatever contradicts it is false. That kind of thinking is forbidden in postmodern times. It's offensive. It's deemed hateful. Christianity, therefore, needs to be silenced through public opinion first, intimidation next, and by force when necessary. Christo-supremacy rejects the postmodern notion that so-called truths are equally valid, and that humans create their own truths to suit. For spoiling this game, Christians are increasingly the hated ones. Regardless, I answered the question about truth being measured and determined by Christ alone in the affirmative. I am a Christo-supremacist. Then came this sticky question. Do I believe Jesus is the only entryway to a relationship with God and that all other so-called doors to the divine are dead ends? Again, I answered yes, and I knew I was in big trouble. Christo-supremacists are politically incorrect, hopelessly so. I must accept the fact that Christo-supremacy is as offensive and as divisive as Christ himself was. This is what got the first Christo-supremacists of Rome into trouble, and why some were fed to lions and a few turned into human torches at garden parties. They recognized a higher authority above the emperor, and they lived not by lies, but by transcendent truth to which all people are beholden. Theirs was a movement, not organized, but organic, that changed the course of human history. And this prompted another question. Do I believe that Christianity, in its pure form under Christ, is better than any other worldview or religion on planet Earth? Again, a huge postmodern sin. Yet I am convinced the world is a much better place because of Christ. And this brought me to the final question. Do I believe everyone should accept Christ as the final authority in all things and submit to him? By force, coercion, or law? Never. Christian faith, by force, is a farce. The body of Christ is composed of whosoever will, and there's nothing oppressive about submission to Christ. Yes, Jesus is Lord of all. Even the devil knows this, and he trembles. But he doesn't submit. So I ask you, are you a Christo-supremacist? You might want to think about this a bit. It's better to cross this bridge now than to be confused later and to lose your nerve. You may be asked this question in court someday. The fact is, you're already in the court of public opinion. But the court that really counts is yet to come. The final judgment. Are you ready?